calm your mind right now. Instant stress relief for sleep. The mind that won't turn off. Your body might be resting right now, but your mind is still moving. Thoughts continue to appear, one after another, as if they are not ready to slow down yet. Even in this quiet moment, there can be a sense of inner activity that doesn't seem to match how tired you feel. And that can be felt in a subtle way, like a background hum that never fully disappears. You may notice how your mind keeps returning to things from earlier, or drifting ahead into things that haven't happened yet. It might feel like it's trying to solve something, or understand something, or prepare for something. And even if you don't want to engage with those thoughts, they still seem to be there, gently pulling your attention, asking to be followed, even when you would rather rest. There is nothing wrong with this. The mind has its own rhythm, and sometimes it continues, even when the day is already over. It doesn't always switch off just because you are ready to sleep. And noticing that can bring a quiet kind of relief, because it means you don't need to fight what is happening. You don't need to force your mind into silence. You don't need to calm your mind right now. That might feel unfamiliar at first, because so often there is a sense that something needs to be done. But in this moment, nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be solved. Your thoughts can be here, and you can still begin to rest underneath them. It's okay if your mind is still active. It's okay if it feels busy or full or a little restless. You can allow it to be exactly as it is, without trying to change it. There is space for both the movement of your thoughts and the quiet of your body at the same time. One does not need to disappear for the other to begin softening. You may start to notice that even while thoughts continue, there are small spaces between them. Moments that are easy to miss, where nothing in particular is happening. You don't need to look for those spaces. They can appear on their own, gently, in their own time, without any effort from you. And as you lie here, you can let your body remain supported exactly as it is. There is no need to adjust anything unless it happens naturally. Your body already knows how to rest, even if your mind is still unwinding. That knowing is quiet, but it is always there, working in the background without needing your attention. Sometimes the mind keeps going because it has been carrying so much throughout the day. Conversations, decisions, emotions, small details that stayed with you. And now, in the quiet, it begins to release that energy in its own way. Not all at once, but gradually, thought by thought. You don't need to follow every thought that appears. You don't need to push them away either. You can let them come and go, the same way sounds come and go in the distance. Present, but not demanding anything from you. And if your attention drifts toward them, that's okay too. It can always drift back, gently, without effort. There is a natural slowing that can begin here, even if it is very subtle at first. Not because you are trying to slow down, but because your system is already beginning to shift, your body resting, your breathing happening on its own, your mind gradually losing the need to stay as active as it was before. You can simply be here without needing to do anything about what is happening inside you. No need to control it. No need to understand it. Just allowing this moment to be as it is, with all its movement and all its quiet, existing together. And as you continue to lie here, something gentle can begin to unfold beneath everything else. A sense that you don't have to keep up with your thoughts, that you can let them move on their own, while you begin to rest in a deeper, quieter place that doesn't require anything from you. You don't need to calm down. There can be a quiet pressure that appears in moments like this. A feeling that you should be calmer than you are, or that your mind should already be slowing down. And even if that pressure is soft, almost unnoticeable, it can still keep something active inside you. A subtle sense that there is a problem to solve, or a state to reach before rest can begin. But you don't need to calm your mind right now. There is nothing you need to do to make this moment different from what it already is. You don't need to guide your thoughts in a certain direction. You don't need to make anything happen. You can let that whole effort gently fade, even if only a little. Your mind can continue, and you can still begin to rest. Those two things can exist at the same time. The movement of your thoughts does not block the quiet that can start to form underneath them. And when you stop trying to change what is happening, there is often a soft release that begins on its own. You don't need to manage your thoughts. You don't need to slow them down or replace them with something calmer. Even the idea of trying to relax can begin to loosen here. You can let go of the need to do this in the right way, or to follow anything perfectly. There is no right way to be in this moment. It's okay if part of your mind is still active, still thinking, still moving. You don't need to silence it. You don't need to argue with it. You can let it exist in the background without needing your full attention. And if your attention drifts toward it, that's okay too. It can drift back naturally, without effort. You may begin to notice that when nothing is being asked of you, your body responds differently. There can be a slight softening, almost like a quiet exhale that you didn't plan. Not something you created, but something that happens when the pressure to do something is no longer there. There is no need to rush into sleep. There is no need to make yourself let go. Rest can begin in very small ways, even while your mind is still active. Just being here, without expectation, allows your system to start settling in its own time. If your thoughts continue, that's okay. If they begin to space out, that's okay too. There is no direction you need to move in, nothing you need to reach. This moment does not require anything from you in order to be enough. You can allow yourself to be exactly as you are, without trying to adjust or improve anything. And in that allowance, something gentle can begin to unfold. A quiet sense that there is nothing to fix, nothing to complete, nothing to hold on to. Letting go of the need to calm down can feel unfamiliar at first. But within that space, calm can begin to appear in its own way. Not forced, not created, just gradually revealing itself as everything else begins to loosen. And as you stay here, even without trying, you may start to feel that rest is already closer than it seemed. Not something you need to reach, but something that has been here, waiting for you to stop trying. The body is still holding the day. As you continue to rest here, you may begin to notice that your body has been quietly holding on to parts of the day. Not in a way that demands attention, but in small, subtle ways that stayed beneath everything else. A slight tightness, a quiet engagement, something that never fully released. You don't need to search for it, but you might gently notice your jaw and whether it feels completely at ease or just slightly engaged. There is no need to change it. Just noticing is enough. And sometimes, without effort, that awareness allows a small softening to begin on its own. Your shoulders may be carrying something similar. Not something obvious, just a faint sense of holding. They have supported you through everything today, even the moments you didn't think about. Now, in this stillness, big to lower, even slightly without needing your help, you can let your attention move slowly, almost passively, through your body. Not to fix anything, not to adjust anything, just to notice. Your chest rising and falling, your arms resting, your hands being held by whatever surface they are on, everything supported exactly as it is. Your breathing is already happening in its own rhythm. You don't need to deepen it or control it. You can simply allow it to be as it is. And as you notice it, you may find that it begins to shift on its own, becoming softer without any intention from you. Some areas of your body may already feel relaxed, while others still hold a slight tension. That is completely okay. Your body does not need to release everything at once. It can take its time, letting go layer by layer, in a way that feels natural and unforced. As you remain here, you might begin to sense a quiet settling, something very subtle. Not a sudden change, but a gradual easing that happens in the background. A small release here, a softening there, almost as if your body is remembering how to rest. You don't need to guide this process. Your body already knows how to move toward comfort. It has been doing this your entire life, adjusting, releasing, recovering in ways that don't require your attention. And now, without pressure, it can continue doing that. Even if your mind is still moving, your body can begin to slow. The two don't need to match. You can let your body soften first, letting that quiet physical ease begin to spread gently, without needing to reach every part all at once. And as you stay here, supported and still, you may begin to feel that your body is slowly letting go of what it no longer needs to carry. Not because you told it to, but because it finally has the space to do so. Thoughts can continue without you as your body continues to soften in its own quiet way. Your mind may still be active, continuing its familiar patterns. Thoughts can keep appearing, sometimes gently, sometimes with more presence, as if they are trying to be noticed, and you don't need to change that. You don't need to make your mind quiet in order to rest. You can allow your thoughts to continue without joining them. They can move in the background, like a distant conversation that you don't need to follow. Even if they seem important, even if they feel unfinished, they don't require your attention right now. They can be there, and you can remain here. There may be moments when a thought pulls you in, and suddenly you find yourself following it. That's okay. There is no need to bring yourself back in a certain way. Your attention can return on its own, gently, without effort, as soon as you notice where it has gone. You don't need to solve anything tonight. Your mind might still be trying to process, to understand, to organize things from the day. But none of that needs to be completed right now. Rest does not depend on finishing every thought. You can pause in the middle of things, and everything will still be there tomorrow. There is a quiet space that exists between you and your thoughts. It may feel very subtle, almost unnoticeable at first, but it's there. A space where thoughts can pass through without needing to be held, without needing to be continued. And you can begin to rest in that space without trying to create it. When thoughts are not followed, they often begin to lose their intensity. Not because you force them to stop, but because they are no longer being carried forward. They come, they move, and then they fade in their own time. This can happen slowly, gently, without any effort from you. You can let your mind do whatever it is doing, while another part of you begins to settle more deeply. Your body resting, your breathing continuing, your awareness softening. All of this can happen at the same time, without conflict. If your mind becomes busy again, that's okay. If it quiets down, that's okay too. There is no direction you need to guide this. You are not trying to reach a certain state. You are simply allowing what is already happening to unfold without interference. And as you remain here, not needing to follow every thought, you may begin to feel a gentle distance forming. Not separation, but a soft space that allows you to rest while your mind continues to unwind. You can stay here, letting thoughts come and go without holding on to them, without pushing them away. Just resting quietly while everything moves in its own time. Safety is already here. As your thoughts continue to move more quietly in the background, there may be a gentle awareness beginning to form underneath everything else. A sense that, in this moment, nothing is being asked of you. Nothing needs your attention right now. You are simply here, and that is enough. You can let your body be supported exactly as it is. The surface beneath you is holding your weight without effort, without expectation. You don't need to keep anything in place. You don't need to stay ready. Your body can begin to trust that it is allowed to rest here, right now. There is no immediate demand placed on you. No situation that needs to be handled. No response that needs to be prepared. Even if your mind has been moving through different thoughts, this moment itself remains simple. And within that simplicity, there is space for your system to begin settling. You may notice that your body starts to recognize this before your mind fully does. A small softening somewhere. A slight release that happens without you deciding it. As if something inside you is quietly understanding that it doesn't need to stay tense right now. There is nothing approaching that requires you to stay alert. You don't need to anticipate anything. You don't need to prepare for what might come next. You can let that sense of readiness begin to fade, gently, without forcing it to disappear all at once. Even if certain thoughts bring up unfinished things or uncertainties, they are not happening here, in this exact moment. They are simply passing through your mind. And you can remain here, grounded in what is actually present, without needing to follow those thoughts outward. Your breathing continues in its own rhythm, steady and natural. Your body remains supported. The space around you holds a quiet that does not require anything from you. All of this exists without effort, already in place, allowing you to rest within it. You don't need to create a feeling of safety. You don't need to convince yourself of anything. Even the smallest sense of ease is enough. Just a quiet recognition that, right now, you are allowed to let go a little. And as you stay here, your system may begin to respond in subtle ways. Slowing, softening, releasing small layers that no longer need to be held. Not because you made it happen, but because the conditions for rest are already here. You can let that sense of safety remain in the background without needing to focus on it. It can support you quietly as everything else continues to settle in its own time. Slowing happens naturally as you remain here without needing to change anything. There is a quiet process already beginning to unfold beneath the surface of your awareness. It may feel almost unnoticeable at first, like something distant, something subtle that doesn't ask for your attention. But even now, Your system is beginning to shift, gently moving away from activity and toward rest. You don't need to make yourself slow down. That's not something you have to do, and it's not something that responds well to effort. Slowing down is something that happens when there is nothing pushing you forward. Nothing requiring your energy, nothing asking you to stay engaged. And in this moment, there is nothing you need to reach. Your body already understands how to do this. It has been doing it your entire life, moving between activity and rest without needing direction. Your breathing continues on its own. Your muscles begin to release in small ways. Your nervous system starts to settle, all without needing you to guide it. Even if your mind is still moving, that doesn't stop this process. The mind can continue for a while, following its own patterns, repeating familiar loops. But without your involvement, without your effort, that movement begins to lose its intensity. Not suddenly, not all at once, but gradually, in its own time. You may notice that your thoughts begin to feel a little more distant, not gone, just less immediate, a little less sharp, a little less demanding. And even if that change is very small, it is already enough. It shows that something is beginning to soften. There is no need to check whether you are relaxing. No need to measure how calm you feel. That kind of attention can create tension again. You can let go of monitoring completely, allowing everything to happen in the background without needing to observe it closely. Your system has been active for a long time, moving through the day, responding to everything around you. And now, without needing to do anything, it begins to shift in the opposite direction. Not because you told it to, but because it finally has the space to do so. Slowing down doesn't require a clear moment where everything stops. It happens in layers. One part of you softens, then another. Your body may settle before your mind does. Your breathing may soften before your thoughts begin to space out. Each part follows its own rhythm. You don't need to bring everything into stillness at once. You can let each layer unwind in its own way, without trying to coordinate it. There is no need for control here. The process is already in motion, even if it feels quiet and gradual. There is something very natural about this shift. Just like sleep comes when it is ready, slowing comes when there is nothing interfering with it. You don't need to create it. You only need to stop trying to make it happen. And even if your mind returns to activity for a moment, that's okay. The process doesn't reset. It continues underneath, steady and patient, always moving toward rest in its own time. You can trust that your system knows what to do. It does not need instructions. It does not need to be guided step by step. It only needs space, and that space is already here. And as you continue to rest in this moment, without effort, without expectation, that natural slowing can deepen. Quietly, gently, almost invisibly, carrying you further into a place where everything begins to feel softer, easier, and more at rest. The mind that keeps going, even as your body begins to soften. Your mind may still be quietly active, continuing its familiar movement. Not because something is wrong, but because this is what it has learned to do. It keeps going, not to disturb you, but to take care of things in the only way it knows how. Your mind often moves toward what feels unfinished. It tries to revisit moments, replay conversations, anticipate what might come next. Not to create stress, but to protect you, to prepare you, to make sure nothing is missed. And even now, in this quiet moment, it may still be doing that in the background. You don't need to stop it. There is nothing here that needs to be pushed away. Your mind is not working against you. It is simply continuing a pattern that has been useful, a way of trying to keep things safe, organized, and understood. Sometimes the mind keeps going because it hasn't yet realized that it can rest. It continues out of habit, out of care, out of a quiet sense of responsibility. And when you begin to see it this way, something changes. There is less resistance, less need to control it. You may notice that your thoughts are not random. They often follow themes, returning to what feels important or unresolved. And that can be okay. They don't need to be completed right now. They don't need to be solved before you can rest. There is a part of you that can recognize this movement without becoming part of it. A quiet awareness that can simply notice the mind doing what it does, without needing to follow every direction it takes. Even if your thoughts continue, you can begin to relate to them differently. Not as something you need to fix, but as something that is already trying to help in its own way. And in that understanding, there can be a softening. You don't need to argue with your mind. You don't need to convince it to stop. You can let it continue while you remain here, supported, resting, not needing to engage with everything it brings forward. As this continues, your mind may begin to feel a little less urgent, not silent, but less insistent, a little more distant, a little more spacious. And that shift can happen naturally, without effort, as the need to control begins to fade. There is nothing wrong with a mind that keeps going. It simply means it has been active, engaged, responsive. And now it is slowly learning that it can that it can rest, that there is no need to keep working in this moment. You can allow that learning to happen gradually, without rushing it. Let your mind continue if it needs to, while another part of you begins to settle more deeply into rest. And as you stay here, you may begin to feel that even a busy mind can exist within a quieter space. Not because it stopped, but because you are no longer holding on to it in the same way. Nothing needs to be solved tonight. As your mind continues its quiet movement, you may notice how naturally it tries to complete things. It returns to ideas, replays moments, looks for clarity, as if something needs to be finished before you can rest. And this happens almost automatically, without you deciding it. But nothing needs to be solved tonight. There is no requirement to reach an answer in this moment. Whatever feels unfinished can remain exactly as it is. It does not need to be completed before your body can rest, and it does not need to be understood before your mind can begin to soften. You can allow every open loop to stay open. Every question can remain unanswered. Every situation can pause exactly where it is. There is no consequence in letting things wait. Nothing is being lost by not resolving it now. Your mind may still return to certain thoughts, trying again to work through them. And that's okay. You don't need to stop that from happening. You can let the thought begin, let it move for a moment, and then let it drift away without needing to follow it all the way through. There is a quiet permission here to pause everything. Not permanently, not in a way that removes importance, but just for now. A gentle pause where nothing needs to move forward. Nothing needs to be decided. Nothing needs to be figured out. Even the things that feel urgent can rest. Even the things that seem important can wait. The mind often treats everything as if it must be handled immediately, but in this moment, that urgency can soften. You can let it settle without needing to respond to it. You may begin to notice that when you stop trying to solve things, your mind has less to hold on to. Thoughts may still appear, but they don't carry the same weight. Without engagement, they begin to lose their direction, becoming softer, less defined. There is no need to prepare for tomorrow. No need to think ahead or organize what comes next. This moment is not asking you to be ready. It is only offering space, quiet space where nothing is required. You can let go of the idea that something needs your attention right now. Even if your mind suggests otherwise, you don't need to respond. You can allow everything to wait, gently, without pressure. If a thought comes back again, that's okay. It can return as many times as it wants. And it's chimiukum without plead. There is no need to push it away. And no need to follow it. Nothing needs to be carried through this moment. You don't need to bring anything with you into rest. Everything can remain where it is, untouched, until another time when you have the energy and clarity to return to it. And as you allow that, even in a small way, you may begin to feel a sense of space opening inside you. A space where there is nothing to finish, nothing to decide, nothing to solve. You can rest inside that space, knowing that for now, everything can wait. The body can let go in its own time. As everything begins to slow in its own way, your body may already be responding, even if it is very subtle. Not through effort, not through intention, but through a quiet shift that happens when nothing is being asked of it. A gentle unwinding that doesn't need to be guided. You don't need to check your body or move your attention through it anymore. That part can begin to fade. Instead, you can let your body rest as a whole, supported, held, without needing to notice every detail. It can release in the background without your involvement. There is a natural intelligence in your body that knows how to let go. It does not need instructions. It does not need to be reminded of what to relax. It simply responds to the space that is available, softening where it can, when it can. Some areas may release quickly, while others take more time, and that is completely okay. There is no need for everything to relax at the same pace. Your body can take its time, letting go layer by layer, in a way that feels safe and gradual. You may begin to notice a deeper kind of heaviness, a comfortable weight as your body settles more fully into where it is. Not a heaviness that feels stuck, but one that feels supported, like you don't need to hold yourself up anymore. Your breathing may also begin to change on its own. Not something you control, just something that softens naturally. A little slower, a little quieter, as if your body is beginning to move into a more restful rhythm without being told to do so. You don't need to help this process. Even the idea of trying to relax can begin to fade. Your body doesn't need that effort. It only needs the absence of pressure, and that absence is already here. If you notice any remaining tension, you don't need to do anything about it. You can let it stay for now. Sometimes, when tension is allowed to exist without resistance, it begins to dissolve in its own time. There is no goal here. No final state you need to reach. Just a gradual softening that continues on its own, without needing to be completed. Your body can continue letting go, quietly, gently, without your attention. You can rest while it does that. You don't need to follow it or guide it. It can take care of itself. And as you remain here, you may begin to feel that your body is settling more deeply, becoming more still, more at ease, not because you made it happen, but because it naturally knows how to return to rest. Thoughts lose energy when unfollowed. As your body settles more deeply into stillness, your thoughts may continue to appear, but they may no longer feel as strong as before. They can still come and go, but something about them begins to change when they are not being followed in the same way. You don't need to stop your thoughts for them to quiet down. They begin to lose their energy on their own when they are not being carried forward. When your attention is no longer holding them, they start to soften, to fade, to become less defined without any effort from you. A thought may appear and gently invite your attention, as if asking to be continued. And you can let it be there without stepping into it, not resisting it, not pushing it away, just allowing it to pass without giving it more energy. Sometimes you may notice yourself following a thought for a moment. That's okay. There is no need to correct it or pull yourself back. The moment you become aware of it again, something has already shifted. The thought begins to loosen on its own. Thoughts often continue because they are being completed. One thought leads to another, building momentum. But when that chain is not continued, the thought begins to lose its structure. It fades before it can fully form into something more. You may notice thoughts that feel unfinished, as if they stopped midway, and that is completely fine. They don't need to reach a conclusion. In fact, when they are left incomplete, they tend to dissolve more easily, without leaving a strong impression. There is no need to replace your thoughts with something calmer. You don't need to think differently. You can let your mind do whatever it is doing, while you remain slightly apart from it, not holding on to anything that appears. As this continues, small spaces may begin to appear between thoughts. Moments where nothing in particular is happening. You don't need to search for these spaces. They arise naturally when thoughts are not being sustained. Even if your mind becomes active again, the same process continues underneath. Thoughts arise, and without being followed, they begin to lose their energy. This can happen again and again, each time softening the overall movement of your mind. You are not trying to make your mind quiet. You are allowing it to unwind in its own way. And that unwinding happens naturally when there is no effort to control it. There is a gentle sense of distance forming, not separation, but space. A space where thoughts can move freely without pulling you with them. And within that space, a deeper kind of rest can begin to take shape. You can remain here, letting thoughts come and go, without continuing them, without needing to stop them. Just allowing them to fade, quietly, naturally, in their own time. You are safe enough to rest. As everything continues to settle, there may be a quiet sense of ease beginning to form inside you. Not something strong or overwhelming, but something subtle. Almost like a background feeling that doesn't need to be noticed directly. A quiet sense that, in this moment, you don't need to hold yourself in the same way. You don't need to look outside yourself to find that sense of safety. There is a part of you that already knows to rest, how to soften how when the moment allows it. And even if your mind has been active, that deeper part of you has remained steady underneath it all. You are safe enough to rest right now. Not because everything is finished or resolved, but because nothing is asking you to stay alert in this moment. There is no immediate demand, no situation that requires your response. just this space where you can begin to loosen your grip on everything. Safety here may not feel like a strong emotion. It may feel more like the absence of something. The absence of urgency, the absence of pressure, the absence of anything needing your attention right now. And within that absence, your system can begin to settle more deeply. You don't need to convince yourself of this. You don't need to believe it in a certain way. Even a small sense of it is enough. Just a quiet allowance, a soft recognition that you can begin to let go a little more. Your body may begin to respond before your mind fully does. A deeper release, a softer heaviness, a sense that you are being held rather than holding yourself. These shifts can be very gentle, almost unnoticed, but they continue to unfold in the background. You can allow yourself to be supported from within, not needing anything to change around you, not needing to create a certain state. Just allowing what is already here to be enough for this moment. Even if your mind brings forward thoughts that feel uncertain or unfinished, they do not take away from this. They can move through your awareness without interrupting the deeper stillness that is beginning to form. You are not required to stay prepared. You are not required to stay aware of everything. You can let that sense of readiness begin to soften, allowing your system to move into a more restful state. And as you remain here, without effort, you may begin to feel that this sense of safety is not something distant. It is something that has always been available, something you can return to without needing to search for it. You can rest here, knowing that you are safe enough to soften, safe enough to release, safe enough to let everything slow down in its own quiet way. Calm is already starting. As you remain here, you may begin to notice that something has already started to change. Not in a dramatic way, not all at once, but in small, quiet shifts that are easy to overlook. A slight softening, a gentle slowing, something inside you beginning to move in a different direction. You don't need to search for calm. You don't need to create it. It is already beginning in subtle ways, even if your mind hasn't fully caught up yet. Your body may feel a little heavier, your breathing a little quieter, your thoughts a little less defined. These are small signs, but they matter. Calm does not always arrive as a clear feeling. Sometimes it begins as the absence of tension, the absence of urgency, the absence of the need to do something. And that absence can be so quiet that it almost goes unnoticed, even as it continues to grow. You may notice that your thoughts are not pulling you in the same way. They can still appear, but they feel softer, less demanding. There may be small spaces between them, moments where nothing is happening, where your mind is simply resting without trying. Your body may continue to release without you paying attention to it. A deeper settling, a more complete sense of support, a quiet stillness that wasn't there before. And all of this is happening without effort, without direction. You don't need to check whether you are calm. You don't need to measure how relaxed you feel. That kind of attention can pull you out of the process. You can let everything continue in the background without needing to observe it closely. Even if part of your mind is still active, that does not mean calm isn't present. Calm and thought can exist at the same time. One does not need to disappear for the other to begin. You may begin to feel that something inside you is already letting go. Not completely, not all at once, but enough to notice a difference. A quiet shift from holding to releasing, from effort to ease. This is not something you created. It is something that naturally happens when nothing is being forced. Your system knows how to move in this direction, and it has already begun. You can trust that this process is unfolding, even if you don't fully feel it yet. Even if your mind questions it, something deeper continues without needing your confirmation. And as you stay here, allowing everything to be as it is, that calm can continue to grow, quietly, gently, without needing your help, becoming more present as everything else begins to fade. You are becoming someone who can switch off as this quiet slowing continues. There may be a gentle shift in how this experience feels to you. Not something you need to think about, but something that begins to settle in the background. A sense that this is not something separate from you, but something that is already part of how you can be. You are becoming someone who can switch off in a way that feels natural and unforced. Not by trying, not by learning a method, but by allowing your system to remember something it already knows. This ability is not new. It has always been there, waiting for the right kind of space. You don't need to reach this state. You don't need to become anything different. This change is already happening in small, quiet ways. The way your body softens without effort, the way your thoughts begin to lose their intensity, the way your awareness starts to drift without direction. Your mind is beginning to understand that it doesn't need to stay active all the time. It is learning that letting go is safe, that pausing does not mean losing control, that rest is something it can allow, even if it has trusted that before. There may be a part of you that is slowly becoming more familiar with this feeling, a part that recognizes that you don't need to follow every thought, that you don't need to stay engaged with everything that appears. And that recognition can grow quietly without needing your attention. Even if your mind becomes active again at times, that doesn't undo what is happening. This shift continues underneath, steady and gradual. Each moment like this reinforces a new pattern, one where letting go becomes easier, more natural. You are becoming someone who can leave thoughts unfinished without discomfort. Someone who can allow things to wait. Someone Who can rest without needing to resolve everything first? And this way of being does not require effort to maintain. There is a quiet ease forming, even if it is very subtle. A sense that you don't need to hold on to everything, that you can let things pass without losing anything important. This ease can deepen over time without being forced. You don't need to repeat this to yourself. You don't need to hold on to the idea. It can settle quietly in the background, becoming part of how your system responds, without needing to be remembered. And as you remain here, allowing everything to continue as it is, this change becomes more familiar, more natural, more automatic, something that unfolds without your effort. You are becoming someone who can switch off, gently, quietly, in your own time. And that process can continue now, without you needing to do anything at all, drifting without trying. As everything continues to soften, you may begin to notice a gentle drifting in your awareness. Not something you are doing, not something you are controlling, but something that begins to happen on its own. A quiet movement between listening and letting go, between being here and fading slightly into the background. You don't need to hold on to every word. You don't need to follow anything closely. Your attention can come and go in its own rhythm. It can settle for a moment, then drift away, then return again without effort. There is no need to stay focused, and no need to bring yourself back when you drift. You can allow part of your awareness to remain with the sound of this voice, while another part of you begins to move somewhere quieter. A softer place where nothing needs to be followed, nothing needs to be understood. Both can exist at the same time without conflict. Your body remains supported, steady, and at ease. There is nothing it needs to adjust. Your breathing continues naturally, without guidance, without control. And your mind can move gently in and out of awareness, without needing to settle in one place. There is nothing here that requires your memory. Nothing you need to hold on to or make sense of. The words can become lighter, less defined, more like a quiet presence than something you need to follow. They can simply exist in the background as you rest. You may notice moments where you are not fully listening, where your awareness fades without you noticing exactly when it happened. And that is completely okay. You don't need to return or correct it. You can let the drifting continue, naturally, without interruption. Everything here is designed to be easy. Stay with. Easy to without effort. Your attention does not need to stay fixed. It can move freely, gently, without direction or purpose. Your thoughts may still appear at times, but they may feel softer now, more distant, less connected. They can pass through without pulling you in, without needing to be followed or completed. There is a quiet rhythm holding everything together. A steady softness that continues underneath your awareness, whether you are noticing it or not. You don't need to stay with it. It can carry you without your attention. You can allow yourself to drift further without trying to go anywhere, without needing to reach sleep, without needing to notice when that shift happens. It can come gradually, in its own time. And as you remain here, everything can continue to soften, to slow, to fade slightly into the background, while you rest more deeply, without needing to do anything at all. Let everything fade now. There is nothing you need to hold on to anymore. Nothing you need to follow. Nothing you need to keep in your awareness. You can let everything begin to fade, gently, without needing to notice when it starts or how it happens. Your body can remain exactly as it is, supported and still. There is nothing to adjust, nothing to improve. You can allow yourself to sink a little deeper into that support, as if there is nothing left for you to carry. Your thoughts can continue if they want to, but you don't need to stay with them. They can drift further away, becoming softer, less defined, less connected. You don't need to watch them fade. They can disappear on their own. Your awareness can begin to loosen, slowly, naturally, without effort. You don't need to stay present. You don't need to keep track of anything. You can let yourself drift further, without direction, without needing to know where you are. There is no next step waiting for you. Nothing you need to reach, nothing you need to complete. Everything can become quieter now, more distant, more faded, without needing to follow a path. Your breathing continues softly, steady and calm, without your attention. Your body remains at rest, without needing your guidance. Your mind can begin to quiet in its own way, without needing to become completely silent. You can let go of listening now, let go of following, let go of noticing. The words can fade into the background, becoming softer, less clear, less present. There is nothing to hold, nothing to return to, nothing to remember. Only this gentle fading, this quiet softening, this gradual release of everything that was once in focus. You can allow yourself to drift completely now. No need to stay aware. No need to stay connected. Just letting everything fall away, slowly, gently, without effort. And as everything fades, you can rest more deeply without needing to notice when it happens, without needing to reach it. Just fading quietly into rest.